Good evening and welcome to Ardnahoe Distillery to our old and rare tasting. It's been a while since we did one, but we're back again and got my old buddy here.
Hello,
Fraser Hughes. How you getting on?
Oh, just in magic, yeah. Great to be here.
Good.
Obviously looking forward to enjoying these drams. They're a bit like you and I, Paul, old and rare, but no, really looking forward to them. There's some fantastic ages, some fantastic drams here as well. So.
A total of 225 years of whisky on the table in front of us. Well, 450 if you count both, but it's quite something, isn't it? 225 years. I mean, it just shows that the standard of stocks that Hunter Laing have got in their warehouses.
Absolutely
It's
superb, Paul.
amazing, and obviously a lot of these. In fact, most of these I haven't tasted before. I think Glengarry was one of the ones that you introduced me to from past connection.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll catch up with that one. We are going to do the tasting in a slightly different order. So we're going to go with Rothers, followed by Strathmill, then the Glengarry, Dalhuin, Dufton, and we'll finish with the Palmeira. So it's not quite the order that was in the tasting box. But we felt that was a slightly better order to go with. So what have you been up to since we were last online?
Last online, basically producing more of the God's own nectar. At the moment, we are on our unpeated batch, Paul. We do obviously the standard Ardnahoe heavy peated, the 40 part per million, but we do a super heavy peated as well. And we do an unpeated. So we're now on an unpeated batch. We'll go back to the standard.
Back to normal.
Ardnahoe, back to normal, yeah.
Everything going well?
Yeah, it's going well just now. Yeah, I don't like preempting things, obviously, but no, the production's going really well.
Good.
Quite very happy.
Good.
And obviously very happy with how the spirit's coming on just now as well.
You've got a great team behind you.
Oh,
and,
superb, yeah. Superb.
It's always good to see things develop and all the spirit coming through.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough that you bring me little samples through to taste every now and again. So I think maybe without further ado, we should delve in to what we've got. It's good to have you joining us from, well, all over the world tonight. We've got UK, we've got Finland, we've got Isle of Man, we've got all sorts. So interesting group of people tonight. So the first one we're going to look at is the Rothers, Fraser.
Okay. Lovely deep
And
colour.
Yeah, it's really incredible colour. But it should be at that age, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, a wee bit of history about Rothers. It's part of the Edrington Group, and it's a Speyside, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And it was founded in 1878. The production level, I think, is around about 5.6 million litres a year. So it's very, very, very high production level.
Mm.
In fact, 1923 saw the launch of the famous Cutty Sark,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
of which
Justerini and Brooks.
yes,
Yeah.
aye.
Yeah.
Well, Rothers was the main backbone
Okay.
of the Cutty Sark, 1923.
But yet, well, okay, this is what, 31-year-old. The Cutty
Yes.
Sark was always quite pale, wasn't it?
Yes,
Quite
it was,
pale,
but
yeah.
no, obviously this is a nice dark golden colour.
Mm. There was something that I picked up from the historical facts of Rothers. It was merged with Bonnehaven, or it was linked with Bonnehaven, and that was when Highland Distillers was first formed.
Right,
So
okay.
10 years linked with Isla there.
Yeah.
But yes, certainly smells delicious.
Oh, superb.
Heather, honey, and ripe fruits.
A bit of nutmeg in there as well, Paul.
Nutmeg. What else we got? Some tasting notes here. Oh, yes. I'm getting a slight nip in the nose.
Bit spiciness, yeah. A
It's
bit mintiness.
still
coming through.
50.1, so it's still got a good kick to it. So
The legs are obviously very
fabulous.
coming down there just nicely.
Just fabulous.
I mean, 50.1, obviously, depending on folks' taste buds, but I would say around 50.1. It might not need water in it, but obviously
Yeah.
dilute to taste.
Okay, what would you say this had been? Bourbon first, then a refill sherry, or
Yes.
has it been a refill sherry, or
It's got an awful lot of the bourbon notes.
Uh-huh.
You know, the light fruits, touch of caramel, creme brulees in it as well. But obviously it's got the colour
Yeah.
of the, you know, it's got it's a nice sherry colour as well.
If any of you out there have got any comments on the nose, please fire them into the chat. It's always good to get feedback from everybody. Well, time to have a wee sample, I think,
would say so,
Fraser.
yes.
It's waited 31 years patiently. Ooh,
Stewed fruits coming through there, Paul.
this tasting note here says eucalyptus. I absolutely get that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a kind of minty, peppery, but it's creamy.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very creamy. Very creamy. It's beautiful.
Creamy and viscousy.
Yep.
Peppery, spicy finish as well, Paul.
Just going to drop a couple of wee drops of water in just to see what that does.
What about you guys out there? Any kind of tasting notes? Do you agree with us, or have you got different notes coming in?
Something else I noticed, a colossal amount of washbacks in this distillery.
20 washbacks in all. They've got 12.
We've
Oregon
got 4.
Fine. Yeah,
They've got 20.
We've got 4. Okay,
Gee whiz.
we double the mashes in of each washback,
Yeah.
but they have 20 washbacks.
So what would the capacity of these be? An idea?
A 5.5 ton Lauter mash tun, I would guess it would be round about 25,000 litres. 25 to 26,000 litres in the washback.
Mm-hmm.
They've got eight stainless steel washbacks as well.
All right, okay. Why would they combine these?
The stainless steel ones I would surmise would be outside.
Right,
where
okay.
The wooden ones would be inside.
Now I've just dropped 2 little drops of water in that, and it's brought that kind of eucalyptus note out
Yeah.
in the nose. I think we've got a question.
Nathan's saying he's getting a bit of peach and some tropical fruits. Barry and Lily concur. They've got some tropical notes, and they think it matches the bourbon cask.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Barry, Lily. Nice that you joined us tonight again. And I hope you're going to enjoy these rather aged whiskies we've got here. I know you're great appreciators of the older stocks.
Rothers, they've got a standard kind of shortish fermentation, 58 hours as well, Paul.
Mm-hmm. So that, to me, means that you're not going to get a lot of the fruits coming through if it's a shorter fermentation.
Less of the fruits, obviously they are going to get an impact of fruits, but less of the fruit impact as you would with the longer fermentation.
The fruitiness this will be picking up will be from cask, obviously.
Yes.
Rather than from the new make spirit. The
Yes.
new make spirit will be not as fruity. I mean, ours is nice and fruity.
Yes, typically fermentation would finish 48 to 50 hours properly.
Yeah.
It's after that time that the fruit impact from the yeast would have more of an impact in the washing and obviously through into the distillation.
Yeah. It's unsurprisingly it's difficult to put down.
Oh, it's lovely. Absolutely beautiful. That's the first time I've tried.
Yeah, for me this is new territory, and you do forget that. I mean, well, we had 40 odd distilleries in Speyside that used the Glenlivet name, and of course now Glenlivet is Glenlivet.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You can understand why Speyside became a centre of distillation.
Almost definitely.
Yeah. Amazing, absolutely stunning.
Oh, you're right with the water, Paul. It just releases these flavours.
Mm-hmm. Definitely creamy, long, slightly peppery finish.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much more to say really because it's an outstanding whiskey. These, of course, are available in our online shop at Ardnahoe Distillery. So if you want to delve in and have a wee look, it's worthwhile. We've got lots of things available there, but the old and rare stocks are especially worth looking at.
Yeah. And again, can I say again, good that you've joined us again, Lily. Lily was obviously one of our team, Paul. a great member of the team.
She knows her whiskey.
Ah, for sure, yeah.
Indeed. That was an amazing start.
Quite warming, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long finish to me.
Yeah.
Quite a long finish.
Yep. Yes.
But it's nice and warm. It's not. Although there's spicy notes in there, it's definitely not spicy. It's not spicy.
It's
and
not
peppery.
overtaking
No,
the finish.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I last tasted Glen Rothers. I think it was they've got a dumpy bottle as their standard. I think it's, I don't know, is it 12, 14 year old, something like that. I was very impressed with it, and it's obviously a lot younger than that, but very, very nice.
No, like you first time tried the Glen Rothers, and it's.
Now I've got some other facts about it here, and in 1896 it was expanded by Charles Doig of the Pagoda Roof fame.
Okay.
Forcedale is the second malt kiln, but fire destroyed much of it before it was completed. And in spite of installing Doig's patent appliances for preventing explosions in the new mill room, this failed to avert another fire. So if I didn't know better, I would have thought Al Capone was owning this distillery.
The fail-safe failed.
So, but it had another stroke of bad luck. In 1922, another fire engulfed warehouse number 1. So the locals, and it says the locals and the cows were rather inebriated.
Thoroughly enjoyed themselves.
And had a great time. So if you can imagine warehouse number 1 full of mature whiskey, around the casks rolling at this burning warehouse, they must have had a field day.
What river did it go into?
Oof.
The Rotherburn.
The Rotherburn, is it?
I'm pretty sure the
that'd
fish
be a
would have been.
tributary of the Spey, I guess, is it?
Yeah. Pretty sure the fish would have been quite happy as well.
Well, they said it was the cows that were. The cows were rather happy. So whether they noticed with the milk and the cornflakes or not in the morning, I'm not sure. So, but no, that was a great start. Really, really enjoyed that. And if anybody's got any other comments, please fire them in. It'd be great to get your feedback on the Glen Rothers 31. Excuse me. There's not much else we can really say about this because I can't drink too much more of it because there's another load of drams sitting there, and
I know,
and they're all very, very special, and I don't want to, kind of overpower myself with anything. So
we can finish them off
later on. Yes, yeah. So the second dram that we are going to look at tonight, or taste, and is the Strathmill 33. Founded in 1891 in a former flour mill. It's quite common, that, isn't it?
It is quite common for former flour mills.
Name me another one. Name me another one.
Oh, you've caught me off the hoop. That was
Deanston.
Deanston, that's right, yeah.
Sorry, I caught you with that one. I should have let you know.
That's where they had their own currency.
That's right,
They
that's
used their own
right.
currency.
Their own currency, Deanston, aye. That's right. So, so it was called the Strathisla Mills when it was first converted to a distillery, and its name was changed when it was bought by Gilbey's, the London Gin Company. And in 1962, it merged and became IDV, which was then absorbed into Grand Met, then Diageo, as we know.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's... and here's the other curiosity about it. It was the first distillery to tanker its spirit away for blending.
Right, okay.
What was the tanker called?
Oh.
Whiskey Galore.
Whiskey Galore.
One of these daft little stories that you pick up, and so it's quite a light styled Speyside whiskey, mainly for the J&B blends.
Yeah, obviously another Diageo one.
Another Diageo one, so let's have a wee...
Founded in 1891,
Okay.
and the capacity is 2.6 million litres.
They're all big.
They're big distilleries.
Makes
Yeah,
us
so
look small here
they're
in
big
Islay,
distilleries.
but there we go. It's got a lovely colour, and straight away I get toffee and honey.
Bit of caramel in there as well, Paul. Some nutmeg coming through there as well. They've got a 9-ton semi-litre mash tun.
That's about what? Nearly 5 times the size of ours.
Yeah, ours is a 2.5 ton mash
2.5
tun.
ton,
But, but at the moment, we're putting 2 and 3/4.
You say a mash tun, lauter, semi-lauter?
It's a semi-litre.
So We got another comment question.
Just Lily is loving these facts. Paul, keep them coming.
Lily likes her facts.
Well, some more facts for Lily then. They've got 6 stainless steel washbacks and 2 pairs of stills. And the spirit stills have purifiers on them. Now, what the purifiers do, it lets the lighter alcohols through, and it pushes the heavier notes back to be redistilled,
Wow.
which gives it a nice light.
So it's like a mechanical reflux almost,
yes.
rather than a natural reflux. Right,
So
okay.
hence that'll transpose into the spirit, a nice light spirit.
Well, oh, look at the oils. Oils are fantastic, innit?
33
They
year old
really
as
are.
well, Paul.
Beautiful. 54.2, so it's got a bit of a kick.
Very creamy, viscousy, this one.
Sweet, sweet. Very sweet.
Very
Okay.
sweet, Paul.
Oh, that's lovely. I must confess, I hadn't really heard of Strathmill at all until I started reading whiskey books.
Yeah.
But
No, there's
Wow.
an awful lot of lovely drams out there, and Strathmill is up there with the best of them.
I take it it's near Rothers or Huntley or something.
It's a Speyside region, yeah.
I'm getting a bit of oakiness in there. Barley, toasted barley.
Try a wee bit of water in it, Paul.
Please drop us your comments on this Strathmill. I think it's lovely, creamy dram.
It's great to have your feedback, guys.
You wonder what Stuart thought all these years ago when he started buying up this stuff. Was he thinking ahead to 2021, 2020, 2021?
Listen, these guys, it's third generation.
Yeah.
These guys have been in it, so no, they've got a great fortitude behind them.
The nice thing about this too is that, as with a lot of independent bottlers, they bottle stuff as single malts. The distilleries themselves tend not to bottle them as single malts.
No, that's right, yeah.
So
that's
then
right.
you get the opportunity to taste something that would normally go maybe
Yeah.
as a blender's malt, but actually it can stand on its own 2 feet.
Oh, for sure,
as
yeah,
a
for sure,
Stunning dram,
for
and
sure. There's an awful lot of distilleries like that.
and I mean this is one, obviously Strathmill, as they say, yeah, J&B for blends. So
No,
it's-
we're very lucky that Hunter Laing have got stocks
yeah,
of these whiskies, because obviously their owners probably use them for blends, but we are really lucky to have these expressions.
I haven't seen oils like that in a long time in a dram. It's just really, really thick mouthfeel, fantastic.
Oils and waxy. Question?
Lily's just stopping in again to say that she's thinking once you add a bit of water, it's turning into flapjack or fudge, Cornish fudge to be exact. And Anne's stopping in to say it's just a superb dram.
It's a beautiful dram, yeah. Thanks for that, guys.
Lily, I think I'm actually getting, it's like maple syrup and pancakes. That's what it's, once I put the water in, it just seemed to explode in that kind of a more expansive sweetness. It's, yeah, I agree with you. It's not syrup. Syrup's
No,
too sweet and
yeah,
gooey. This is a much more complex sweetness.
yeah.
Beautiful. Cask. What do you think the cask profile's been with us?
I would say bourbon, predominantly. It's got the light golden colour, obviously coming from the bourbon. It's got the lighter fruits.
So could that be refill all its days, or first fill, then refill, second refill? type thing?
I would say that's probably refill most of its days.
Yeah. Because the wood hasn't overtaken anything.
No,
It's just
no, it hasn't.
it's there in the background.
It could even be a first or a second refill.
Yeah.
No, from going by the age, 33 years old.
Oh, I should say good evening to my friends from Ayrshire. Hopefully you're enjoying the tasting so far tonight. And please remember, fire in some comments, because I do know you like your good whiskies.
No, beautiful dram, the Strathmill. They've got some fantastic old and rare drams, haven't they?
Oh, I'm really still getting that maple syrup.
Look at the legs still coming down. That's been sitting a good 2 to 3 minutes and the legs are still nice and creamy.
I'm getting a kind of bitter dark chocolate in the end.
Cocoa.
Like I dried.
Yeah,
I
dried
dried.
cocoa,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now I didn't get that before I put water in, but I'm getting it now. Gosh, that is incredible. Very, very nice. Beautiful. While we're here, I know you were lucky enough to be in receipt of some, shall we say, examples of Ardnahoe's developing spirit. Would you like to let the guys know what's happening and how it's coming on?
Yes, not a problem. Obviously we started nearly 3 years ago now. In fact, tomorrow will be the 3rd year anniversary of the very first mash going in at Ardnahoe. So the 9th of October 2018 was our very first
No, I
mash
didn't
going in.
know that. This was just designed as a day. It wasn't designed as a day to coincide with that anniversary. But that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
And very, very soon we'll have the honour of calling ourselves an actual whisky distillery soon.
Yes.
The 9th of November will be our very first day that we can call ourselves an actual whisky distillery.
Do you think you'll be allowed to break into a cask, Fraser?
I would hope so, but
Yeah.
we need to speak to
Need to speak to the powers that be.
Yes,
See if
yes.
they'll
Yes,
see if
all
they'll let
going
us get up to mischief on that day.
well. Yes, but obviously we
Yeah.
won't be putting that out to market.
No.
Um, but no, yeah,
You always said yourself the whiskey will tell you.
yes, no, definitely the whisky in the cask
Yeah.
will tell us.
But sorry, the development.
Yes,
we
yeah.
digress.
Yes, sorry, the development. Obviously, I was lucky enough to get some samples of a hogshead, a bourbon, a PX, and an Oloroso.
Well, these are the quarter cask ones.
The quarter cask was the Oloroso and the PX. Oloroso to me is phenomenal for 2-year-old. It's got the dry sweet sherryness coming through with the the dry smokiness from the heavy peated new make spirit,
Super.
and the colour from the PX. I would at guess you're looking at a 6-year-old. You know, for colour wise at the moment.
Wow.
And the hogshead is absolutely phenomenal. It's obviously it's a work in progress at
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah.
But I've got very high hopes
Good.
that we could be the 9th iconic.
Excellent. You heard it here first, folks, from the horse's mouth. It's coming on nice. So hopefully we'll be able to share Ardnahoe with you in the next few years. It's good to hear that things are going. I'm going to take a back seat with this next dram, Fraser, because I do believe that you have a connection with our next dram, which is Glengarry, 31-year-old. Me being a Hicktown chuchter, used to think it was Glengarry, until somebody corrected me.
Yes.
I was attracted to it because the old label used to have a stag's head on it.
Stag's head on it, yeah.
And I think one of their key expressions was 15-year-old.
Yes, they're a 15-year-old, 21-year-old. They had a 12-year-old as well, core range.
Okay.
To me, Glengarry is, I wouldn't say underrated, but it should be up there for the quality and for the taste and the notes coming through it.
Is that the one that has the road going through the middle of it?
Yes, the road. I mean, obviously, I was lucky enough to work there.
Yeah.
Late 90s into the early 2000s, and yes, we had the office on one side of the road, and the distillery, the main distillery and warehouse on the other side, and it was a main thoroughfare.
I can just imagine Fraser going across with tea in the morning. Oh, God, nearly run over by a car.
But no, listen, Glengarry it'll always have a place in my heart. My dad was obviously manager there in the early 70s to 80s. 1970, Stanley P. Morrison bought it from DCL.
Mm-hmm.
It was decommissioned at the time. Lack of water, obviously DCL decommissioned it. There wasn't enough water to produce what they were looking to produce. Obviously DCL were big. So Stanley P. Morrison bought it in 1970, and during recommissioning, one of the local contractors that was working at the distillery located an abundant source of water from a natural spring.
Right.
So it doubled production levels
Wow.
overnight. So I think they bought the distillery, I think it was for about £80,000 back in 1970, but the value more than doubled overnight, with the excess water.
So where was the original water source? Was it a burn or?
The original water source was a burn, but they located a natural spring.
And of course, I mean, it's arid desert climate up there, isn't it?
Yes, great barley growing country up there. Not so dry now with the distillery, obviously.
Indeed. So no, that's amazing. They actually closed it because of lack of water in Scotland, for goodness sake.
And yeah. But no, obviously we're lucky enough to find it. Mid-70s, another fact, and a good fact, is that with the waste heat, they produced tomatoes at the distillery. And remember the old programme Tomorrow's World?
Yes.
They were actually up there, a guy named William Bullard.
Yes.
I don't know if any of you guys remember Tomorrow's World, but one of the guys.
Futuristic programme from our younger days, Fraser. Yeah.
So it was a fair thing back in the mid-70s.
Yeah. So they used the heat, obviously, from the distillery to heat the soil to grow the tomatoes, and obviously a bit more sun up in that part of the world. So
yes, but beautiful tomatoes, and obviously it was alcoholic tomatoes.
Oh.
But Glengarry itself, the distillery itself, has got a 4-ton full lacter mash tun. Now they have 8 stainless steel washbacks, and they produce just over 1.3 million litres. The capacity is 1.3 million litres a year.
Beam Suntory one now.
It's Beam Suntory now, yes. But again, no, Glengarry are fantastic.
So when this was distilled, 31 years ago or 32 years ago, who was the owner then? Was it
the owner?
Morrison's at the time.
Morrison Bowmore Distillers at the time. Suntory took us over 1994.
So there's a good chance there would have been another Isla connection up. Well, you were an Isla connection up there, obviously.
Yes, Willie McNeil.
Willie McNeil. Yeah.
He was distillery manager at the time in 1988 when this was produced. In fact, 1988 was the year I married my good wife as well.
Oof, well, there we go.
So I'm looking forward to.
It's got a lovely herbal nose, and I definitely get the gingerbread. I don't get the black tea.
Yeah, there's grassy notes in there.
I think we've got a question just before I take a sip.
Well, we've actually got a fun fact of our own from Barry and Lily.
Fantastic.
Glengarry, they say they've reverted back to their direct fire stills as of this year. And Stuart, he's saying he's loving that dark chocolate on the palate from the Glengarry.
Excellent. I know Stuart likes the dark chocolates. Stuart's a big fan of Bonnehavens as well, so.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. It's dark fruits, but there's some light notes in there as well, Paul.
That is very complex. That's just amazing. Again, I'm reading some nosy oranges on the palate with stewed apples, a hint of Turkish delight. I never ever thought I would drink whiskey and talk about Turkish delight, for goodness sake. That is amazing.
Yeah, I'm getting the oranges, Paul. Nice orange colour as well.
And I never used to like Turkish delight until the girls started making it here in the kitchens at Ardnahoe.
But that's real Turkish delight.
Yes, it is.
And again, they've got a 72-hour fermentation, which lets obviously the fruits have an impact. When the washback's lying silent.
So is that where that long grassy finish is coming from?
The long grassy finish would come from they produce a clear wort.
Right.
So you get the long grassy finish,
Yep.
with the, obviously with the clear wort coming through into the washbacks.
No nuts. No nuttiness with that.
I don't get nuts with it, no.
No, because with the clearer wort you don't get the nuts.
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
cloudy
yeah.
wort you'll get a
Yes.
nutty finish. Or sorry, a nutty feed through the new make. That's
Yeah, they've got the full lauter mash tun as well, so obviously you can produce the clear wort at the same time as having the stirring gear rotating, because it's on a hydraulics, so it would you raise it up to the top of the hydraulics at the start of the mashing cycle, and as the mash is draining, as the water's draining, you lower it slightly,
okay.
incrementally. It's stirring it. It's letting the natural oils and waxes come through.
Drop through before it gets stirred.
Yes, but you're getting a nice clear wort at the bottom coming through as well. It helps the fruit forward in the spirit.
Does anybody else think that this is the best one so far? I've got to say this is an absolutely amazing dram.
Well, I'm biased.
Yeah, obviously you're biased, but it's a lovely, lovely dram. It's sweet oranges. It's
That's
Lovely,
49.1 in
lovely.
strength.
yeah. You wouldn't think so.
No,
It's so smooth.
yeah. To me, you wouldn't need
So
to add.
smooth. No, there's no spiciness, no pepperiness, none of that coming through.
It's lovely. It's long. It's creamy.
Incredible.
They were also the first distillery to use natural gas
Okay.
to heat up the steam. And the distillery, first distillery in Scotland to use natural gas, early 70s.
So that was Barry saying they're direct firing their stills again. I
Yes.
presume it's gas, is it, Barry? He'll maybe come back to us with
Yes, it's
an answer.
gas.
Yeah.
It's gas, yeah.
Got another question.
So yeah, Aaron Lilly back again. They used to have the longest line arms in the industry until somebody else came along about 3 years ago.
Ah, well,
I'll drink to that one, Barry.
we'll drink to that one. Slange. Keep it coming, Barry, Lily, everybody else. Thank you. It's always good to get feedback on these drams and what you get out of them. This is an every way process. I've just dropped a couple of water drops in there.
No, honestly, guys, we enjoy the comments and the questions coming.
Now, when you put the water in, it gets peppery.
Spiciness coming.
Yeah, spiciness comes through with a couple of drops of water. We've got another question or a comment.
Nathan's asking, is it a bourbon cask?
Fraser, I will pass to Fraser because he will definitely know the answer to this.
Thanks for that, Paul.
What have we got written in the back? Nothing.
Yes,
I
again,
would say
it's,
it's bourbon, yeah, for
most
sure.
definitely bourbon. It's got the lighter tropical fruits.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the the Christmassy cake notes coming through, and the colour. And for a 31-year-old, yes, most definitely a bourbon cask. Refill again. It could even be a bourbon hogshead.
As I say, I'm picking up that spicy note on it once you drop the
Oh, definitely.
water drops in.
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's probably the most dramatic change of the others so far. You put that in, boom, out it comes. You're saying bourbon, you wonder where's the oranges coming from that? There was oranges, I've lost the oranges now, but you wonder where the oranges come out, but it's definitely there, absolutely definitely there.
No, lovely, Paul.
How long were you in Glengarry for, Fraser?
I was in Glengarry for 8 years.
Okay.
From 97 to 2004, 2005. Beautiful part of the country. Absolutely beautiful part of the country.
And were you managing, were you production assistant?
I was, before I moved up, I was a mashman at Auchentoshan,
Oh, right, yeah.
and then I was given the opportunity to become senior process operator
Right.
at Glengarry.
Okay.
It was mothballed in 95, so obviously we were given the opportunity to reopen it in 97. So I was lucky enough to be given senior process operator, and then from there, a couple of years later, I was given head distiller and then distillery manager.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was.
No wonder you've got a soft spot for it.
Oh, it is absolutely. Look, I grew up there in the 70s. Again, went to school there. in Old Meldrum. Beautiful part of the country. And again, great barley grown country as well up there.
Yeah.
It's got the nice, it's got the dry, hot summer days. It's
Just like we had here this summer.
beautiful here.
Beautiful here. We need the slightly more temperate climate here for our nice peaty spirit.
It's a different climate over
Yes,
here. It's more a
absolutely.
damp,
Yes.
warm climate over here, which is great for
Yeah,
the maturation that we're looking for.
absolutely. Well, this is halfway through. So far we've had Rothers 31, Strathmill 33, Glengarry 31. It's going to ratchet up a wee notch because we're going into the 40s now. Just like you and me, really, Fraser.
yeah.
You know,
Plus
in
that
the
with you,
40s. This is quite amusing actually. When we had the shop at Bridgend before we opened up at the distillery, and a couple of the girls down there just couldn't get their mouth round Dilhune. It was Dilune and all sorts of stuff.
Dilwayne.
But I'll tell you what, it's maybe difficult to pronounce, but I'll tell you what comes out of it is pretty damn good.
You know what I'm getting? These purple sweets, Parma violets. Paul.
Parma violets, yeah. I have to give you this fun fact. There's another one for Lily, by the way. Dilhune, it's full-bodied, rich and sulphury. The curiosity is that 2 of the shell and tube condensers were made from stainless steel. Hence you get a sulphury note coming through. And their stock is mainly an ex-bourbon, but also some sherry. I believe these have since been changed because the spirit was too sulphury.
Yeah, so back to
as
copper.
you can
now,
imagine.
Paul,
So they're all copper now.
yeah, back to copper.
So that was an experiment that was tried that, maybe didn't work. But there's a fun fact for you, Lily.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Dilhune's another Diageo,
Yep.
Speyside. It's 5.2 million litres capacity a year. Again, we are so lucky to have, a dram of this age, 46 years old, because the bulk of Dilhune is used in their blends.
Was this one that went into Bells?
I'm not sure, Paul.
Not sure, yeah.
I know Inchgower went into Bells.
Inchgower, yeah,
Inchgower
yeah.
was using.
Now, the first thing I get that comes out of that glass is a bit of sulphury note.
Yes.
Tell us where the sulphury note comes from, Fraser.
Well, the sulphury note can come from worm tubs, but it can also come from obviously the stainless condensers. Depending how you run your stills as well. If you run the stills fast and it's in worm tubs, then it can through.
Big sulphury note.
Yeah, big sulphury notes, beefy notes as well. Another fun fact.
Go on.
Dilhune was the first distillery to construct and use pagodas.
Was it?
Yes,
the
it was.
Doig's chimneys.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Oh, there we
Obviously to aid the smoke coming
go.
in.
I'm getting, what would you call them? Tropical fruits? Tropical fruits.
Mangoes.
Aye.
Mangoes.
Honey.
Obviously, it's another full outer mash tun. They've got 11 and a quarter ton mash tun, I think it is. So obviously, there is going to be an abundance of fruits coming through. And they have
Now, on the palate, it's totally different from what it is in the nose. Because you got the mango, the kind of guava on the nose, and then it goes to pineapples and cherries.
lovely.
It's crazy. It's good. It's good. That's the fun thing about distilling, though, isn't it? Because you can play about, or you can tweak things. You can do a long fermentation, you can do a short fermentation, and run your stills hard, run your stills slow. You can change your yeast. You can do all sorts of things just to change your flavour profile.
It's you've got the standard recipe. You've got malt, barley, and yeast, and obviously throw into the mix the operators as well. You can do so much. You can make so many different variants with the recipe that you've got. It's like, how do you like your steak, Paul? Medium?
Yeah.
medium
Yeah,
rare,
absolutely.
well done. It's exactly the same in the production. You can produce so many different variants, but I think what you try to produce is what you want to move forward with.
So you coming here had the opportunity to sit down with the guys and say, what kind of spirit are you looking for? Or you knew what equipment you had and you say, well, I think we could do this with it, or I think we could do that with it. How did that conversation go? That'd be interesting.
It's obviously the conversation was there. What the guys wanted, they wanted an iconic Islay new make spirit to produce another iconic Islay Scotch whisky. Obviously, you've got the plant, we've got the big stills, we've got the worm tubs, we've got the semi-lighter mash tank, and we've got the big washbacks. But it's a case of getting into the plant and seeing what you can produce with the plant, tweaking it. I mean, the very first spirit that came off Ardnahoe was absolutely sublime, and that was just two low wine runs, and it was absolutely sublime. Obviously, when the faints come into the mix, obviously you're getting your natural oils and waxes coming through as well, more of the fruit impact coming through. But I would say it probably took about a year and a half for our spirit to evolve into what we've got today, because we wanted to produce a clear wort. It takes longer for the oils and waxes to be introduced into the system. So I reckon it evolved over a year and a half to the new mixed spirit that we've got today.
So you turn this in your head, we're back to this dilution, which goes into blending mainly, and it's the skill of the blender that then goes to the distillery to say, look, could you get me this style of single malt, because I want to blend this with, quite a fiery grain spirit or quite a sweet grain spirit. Fantastic skill these guys have, and sometimes we do overlook blended whisky, but right through the industry, from single malt to blending, massive skill set.
Oh, it's massive skill set. That's hundreds of years worth of experience that people have gained. But no, you're right. You can do so much at one distillery, produce different complexes in the new make spirit, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think obviously with Ardnahoe, sorry, digressing again. With Ardnahoe, we're looking to produce another iconic Islay whisky, which is synonymous worldwide.
I think we'll be okay. I think this dilution is warming in my hand, and I'm bringing a lot more kind of figs.
Figs. There's quite a bit of spicy notes in there, quite peppery.
What does the water do? Well, guys, let's give us some feedback on this dilution. It's one I was really looking forward to trying, and it's not disappointed. As I say, it's 46-year-old, so it's the oldest one in the collection, and I would certainly be quite happy with a bottle of this in my cabinet.
Oh, most definitely. .1% strength, Paul.
It was amazing after 46 years. Now, see when you put the water in, I'm getting almonds.
Bit of beeswax.
Waxy almonds, definitely.
The caramel has reduced a wee bit with the water.
But it does, the note says it's a long and dry finish. But, wow.
Absolutely superb.
Still going.
Yeah.
It's still going. That's another stunning dram from the guys at Laing, the Old and Rare Platinum Selection. It's
a lovely bottle as well, Paul, isn't it?
It is. It's well packaged, and as I say, something I would quite like to have in my cabinet, but maybe don't pay us enough for that yet. Keep the comments and questions coming in, guys. You don't want to get bored listening to us talking all night.
How's the? Obviously, you're in charge of the visitor centre side of things, Paul. How's that coming along just now?
It's been a tough couple of years, as you know, with the pandemic, but it's nice to see that the visitors are returning, and especially the whisky aficionados are returning again, which is nice. A lot of Americans, Germans, Swiss. We're getting a right cross-section of people now, so it looks like we're returning to something slightly more normal.
Yes.
I guess it'll be a long winter as we normally have over here in Islay, but we'll still be open, we'll still be here.
Yeah, I know.
And we look forward to a full year next year, which will be, and we've got lots happening next year, obviously with our third anniversary happening next month, and building to the eventual launch. So we'll have lots of things going on, and obviously we want to keep the interest up and keep people, wanting to investigate what Ardnahoe is all about.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So it should be another full-on year.
Yeah.
And we always want to keep developing things and trying to do different things and interesting things with food pairings and cheese pairings and tastings and all that. So
people like different.
And it's good when you can come in and help us out as well.
No,
because
listen,
everybody loves to see the distillery manager doing his stuff.
I enjoy that.
So it's grand. It's great.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's been challenging hospitality UK wide, but over the summer here it has been really busy.
Yes, it's been almost like Islay per normal.
Yes.
With a bit of the Spanish sun thrown in, because we were all looking rather tan this year, which was great. It was very good. So I think it's time that we dived into the next whisky, Fraser. Do you know what? I even had my notes in the back of that one, and I've got notes in the back of this one too. So Dufton 44. Now, Dufton. First time I ever heard the name Dufton mentioned was when there was a gentleman called Gilbert Duncan who used to be manager at Bonnehaven, and he left Bonnehaven and moved up to Dufton, and I thought that sounds like it's at the other end of the earth.
Dufton, yeah.
He went to work for Chivas.
Okay.
Up in Dufton. I'm not sure which distillery, but I don't know. Is this a?
No, this is a Diageo.
Diageo, yeah. Of course, it's been in the Bell's Blend, yeah.
Speyside.
Yeah.
6 million litres a year capacity, so another big one.
Now this is one that the Singleton's connected with, because you've got the Singleton at Glenard, you've got the Singleton at this Dufton.
Yes.
And there's another distillery, there's the Singleton. However, and unusually the wash stills are smaller than the spirit stills in this distillery.
Yes.
What effect would that have? What would that do? It says indirect fired, run hot, and shell and tube condensers with after coolers. So what is that going to do to the spirit?
Run hot, obviously, you're going to get more of the beefy notes coming through.
Yeah.
Heavier notes coming through. You're going to have less copper contact. Less esters, obviously. Not so pronounced on the fruits, which is great for blending, obviously.
Yeah.
But for a single malt, it's a different complexity. Another phenomenal old and rare. But no, it gives you more of the meaty notes coming through. Obviously, if you run your stills that bit hotter, that bit faster.
I would say that the guys at Hunter Laing were very, very eagle-eyed. 44 years, they caught this one in time. 41.8%. That must have been squeaky bum time.
It's near the borderline, isn't it? It's near the borderline.
Yeah, that was, of course, below 40 it was no longer whiskey, and that would have been a very expensive liqueur.
Yes.
But this is, it's got a lovely, it's soft. It's not aggressive at all.
It's very soft in the nose.
Hey, what am I getting? Red Lady apples. You know Red Lady apples, the wee round.
Yeah, just
small ones.
You
get that kind of sweet nose off their skin.
It's quite refreshing as well. It's like, I don't want to sound like marketing, but it's like a lovely spring morning.
You are sounding like marketing.
Sorry.
Come on, guys, give us some feedback on this. Oh, we have some feedback.
It's funny you should say that, Fraser, because Nathan wholeheartedly agrees. He says it makes him think about spring.
Wow. Well done, Nathan.
Sorry, thanks for that, Nathan, but I didn't want to go down that path.
difficult thing about the spring when we're just getting into autumn.
Yes,
but there we
I
go.
know, I know.
But yeah, I see. Yeah, I see where you come
It
from.
just opens up the nose. It's very fresh. Dufton has got a big mash tun. It's a 13-ton mash tun. Again, full louter. And 12 stainless washbacks.
Well, now, what have I got written down in the back here? Oily, honeycomb, caramel, brown sugar, fruity, long, slightly dry and spicy. But I think it went
Slightly
spicy when I put the water in.
Yes,
I haven't dropped water in yet.
it's slightly spicy at the moment, but I wouldn't say it's full on spicy, Paul.
I must have fibbed. I must have tasted this one already.
There is spicy notes coming through. Do any of you guys know the Dufton area? I think there's 6 or 7 distilleries. Again, another area, Speyside area that's.
Definitely, you add the water, the spices come out.
I feel a bit of the heat.
Definitely coming through. But it also it's retaining that caramel and honeycomb. You're not losing that quite often. You would lose that with the dilution, but it's retaining that lovely flavour. And if anything, the water has lengthened the finish.
Okay. Again,
Let us have your thoughts on that comment. That's a bit controversial, but anyway, go on. Some more comments.
Stuart's getting aniseed on the palate, except there's one major flaw, and it's that the bottle is far too small. Barry and Lily, they say it goes great with Galaxy salted caramel.
Oof.
Thanks for that, Barry and Lily. We could have done with some of that here.
I don't know if I might have gone more blue cheese, Lily, Barry. I know we usually pair that with something peaty, but yeah, I don't know if I could do sweet and sweet like that. Stuart, yeah, take your point, but guess what? We've got a full one.
And
so could you.
We've got back up here.
But yeah, it's. I take it this is one of your favourites, Stuart, is it? It's unusual. It's. I'm sorry, I'm probably still swinging back to the Glengarry. I thought it was a very complete dram. Not that I would refuse this one at any time, especially if you buy a bottle and bring it around my house.
But for 44-year-old Paul, it hasn't got any of the the oakiness. I don't get oakiness from the cask.
Toasted, but not overpowering. Not just not being left too long. It's lovely.
But for a 44-year-old, it's absolutely sublime.
But
And the legs coming down there as well, Paul.
yeah. But as I say, with the water, it definitely adds a bit more spice to it, which is it's crazy, but it's lovely. I could quite easily drink the rest of Stuart's bottle if he happens to buy one.
To me, that's a mid-afternoon dram.
Yeah, well, it's past breakfast.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
it's past breakfast.
It's past 11 o'clock somewhere.
Yep. Excuse me. We hope you've enjoyed them so far. I'm just still a bit in awe that I'm sitting here tasting 3 30-plus-year-olds and 3 40-plus-year-olds. A lovely treat for us,
Superb.
because we don't often delve into the old stocks, but it's a nice little surprise.
What else would you be rather doing on a Friday night, Paul? This is absolutely superb.
Well, there's not much, to be honest. This is pretty good. It's pretty good, and yeah, we've got some folk appreciating along with us, which is nice. So,
And good to get in the questions, guys.
the final one,
Palmeira.
Palmeira. This is the one that was mothballed in '93, sold to Inverhouse in '97, which is now the Thai company, International Beverage Holdings. Interestingly, the new owners, when they bought it, they didn't get any stock.
Did they not, Paul?
No, so their single malt is not readily available, so this is probably quite scarce. During World War II, it was closed and it was used as a billet for the Royal Corps of Signals. There you are. And in the 1990s, it was bottled under the Deerstalker label by a Glasgow bottling
I
company.
did know that, yes.
Aye.
I did know that.
So that's quite unusual. There is another old story about Palmeira, and it's a friend of David Livingston who works here, who used to manage Ardbeg. And he came and visited us a couple of years ago. And his grandmother used to work at Palmeira. Sorry, she didn't work at it, she lived at Palmeira, her father managed it. And it was at the time when the railway had just been put in the Speyside.
Okay.
So Palmeira built a little spur to join on the Speyside Railway. So this wee girl, obviously an only child, and she mucked about the distillery and whatnot, as you did in these days.
She did, yes.
And she used to bribe the engine driver. She would go into under the spirit safe and melt the rods under the spirit safe into her hanky and then squeeze it into a jar. And then she'd wait and the engine driver come along and she'd leg it across and she'd give him the jar and she'd get up onto the footplate and she'd get a run along to, I think it was Ballindalach, was it? Or no, Cragganmore, whatever the junction was. And but if she missed the train, she would then go and she would get bread out of the kitchen and soak the bread in the spirit and feed the ducks, and the ducks were steaming.
Excellent, yeah, no, excellent.
It's one of these daft stories that you hear. But yeah, he was, I'm sorry I can't remember his name, a lovely gentleman. And it ties in with some of the history. They had a brother that was in New Zealand that had to come back when family members died, etc. So, yeah.
Okay.
But a distillery with an amazing history.
Oh, superb, yes. We have a question.
Lovely deep gold.
Jane asks, when does whiskey become too old? And Barry and Lily are asking, which dram was it you were both looking forward to most at the start of this tasting?
You go the first one.
Okay, but when does a whiskey become too old? The cask would tell you. Obviously, you do have to keep, especially the older ones. You do have to keep a constant eye on it to make sure the wood doesn't overtake. Depending on the conditions of the warehouse as well, it can get sometimes a whiskey can get very pungent. But no, I mean that's up to the distillery staff to keep an eye on it. I know of a 54-year-old whiskey that's sublime, but then I've also come across a 25-year-old that's gone too far. So that there's no kind of age limit to it, depending on what cask you put it in. You could put it in a second or third refill cask, and you're going to get longer maturation out of it.
And I answered the second question, Barry and Lily. What was I looking forward to? I'm kind of cheating. I was looking forward to two. I was pretty sure the Glengarry was going to be very good because Fraser's bummed it up for years, and I wasn't wrong. It was absolutely delicious. And I'm not just saying that, Barry, honestly. It was lovely. This is the other one I've really been looking forward to. I've just been nosing it. I haven't tasted it at Palmeira 40. I heard so much about Palmeira over the years and really, really looking forward to diving into this one. Obviously, would like all your feedback as to what you've been looking forward to and what you think has turned out the best. And so far, I'm on track. The Glengarry was great. We'll see how the Palmeira goes. Fraser? Like
you, Paul, I was looking forward to Glengarry because obviously I'm biased. But the one that I've enjoyed up to now, before the Balmenach, is the Glenrothes 31-year-old. I think it's nice and viscousy, nice creamy. It's got the nice fruit tones coming through as well. So to me, at the moment, the Glenrothes 31-year-old has been my favourite of the night.
See that 54-year-old? Was it in your cupboard at home by any chance?
Obviously not. I'm not that age, Paul. Might have been in my father's cupboard.
So this Palmeira 40, lovely gold. It's got tropical notes. What have I got written in the back? Fruity, sweet. 45.4.
Lovely in smell. A couple of fun facts about Balmenach. It's got a 2.9 million litres capacity, production capacity. 1824 it was founded. And of the 5 distilleries that were with Inverhouse at the time, it's the only one that does not have an official bottling. So again, we are really lucky tonight to be tasting a superb old and rare dram.
Well, I've got to say, this is definitely one of the ones I was looking forward to, and it's delivered. Absolutely delivered. It's sweet, it's got tropical fruit, it's got strawberries, it's
got
a
the
little
spiciness as
hint
well,
of citrus,
Paul.
but it's oily and waxy.
Mhm.
It'll be
Very-
interesting to see what the water does to it,
Very complex.
although I don't want to put water in it yet. Anybody else give us some feedback on this Palmeira? It's absolutely lovely.
It's
So
drying
if you're
as well.
wanting to buy me something for Christmas, Fraser,
Okay. It's quite dry in the mouth as well, Paul.
mm-hmm.
Again, it looks like it's been to me, there's a touch of sherry influence in there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably predominantly been in a bourbon cask most of its life.
Yeah, definitely vanilla
Mhm.
undertones, but but its finish is incredibly
Mm.
long. That is still going, and that's a good minute since I've last had a sip.
Peppery.
Now the nose changes to quite spicy, just with a little water
Mhm.
in it. I was picking up passion fruit on the nose to begin with, but again that's gone with the water. It's more mango, pineapple. Wow, the water really adds to this.
It throws it open, doesn't it?
Really opens it up. It's really adding all these.
Like
It's-
strawberries coming through there, Paul.
Yeah, to me, usually adding water, you kind of lose a little bit of the mouthfeel, a little bit of the waxiness. This has somehow enhanced it. Please
Oh, no,
give us your
yeah.
feedback on this one, because this
Quite-
is
Quite warming.
edging ahead for me.
Quite warming.
It's
as
lovely.
well. You can imagine yourself sitting by the peat fire, having a wee dram.
Yeah, that's.
No, absolutely superb.
I'm afraid to say, Fraser, I think that is my number one for tonight.
I was going to say Glengarry, obviously, but to me, the Glen Rothers 31 has
Yeah.
been my favourite tonight. Balmenic is up there, obviously, with it. But Glen Rothers has been.
Yep,
Has
I,
been my
I,
favourite
I, I
tonight.
did enjoy it. In fact, there wasn't any I didn't enjoy. We might get the sack if we said we didn't enjoy any of them.
No,
but,
I'm sure we'll be okay. No,
But-
sure we'll be okay.
I just really enjoyed that Balmenic. It's to me, it's everything in what a good dram of Speyside whiskey should be. It's got complexity, it's got waxiness, oiliness, it's got a long finish, it's got a fantastic mouth feel. It's just bursting with flavour.
Yes.
Absolutely bursting with flavour.
And it's got that natural Speyside
Yeah.
flavours coming through.
Absolutely. Please give us your feedback on the Balmenic. Yes, we're getting some feedback on Balmenic.
Thinks it's very complex and fruity. Stuart thinks pineapples and mangoes on the nose.
Yeah. Has he tasted it? Have you tasted it yet, Stuart? You must taste this. I'll go half in a bottle with you. It's an absolutely stunning
Absolutely
dram.
superb.
I'm very privileged to have tasted that tonight. In fact, privileged to have tasted all of them
No,
tonight. So it's been really good.
no, it's been a pleasure to be with you tonight, Paul,
Been grand.
and you guys as well, obviously.
Grand.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
And we hope you enjoy the fun facts as well. We tried to kind of chuck other bits and bobs in there
Just
because it's like
wee bit difference, wee bit history
Yeah,
about the
a
distillery.
couple of grumpy old men sitting drinking whiskey is not exactly fun to watch. But if you get some interesting facts along with it, it's okay. Do we have any more feedback?
Lily and Barry are asking if there's any insight into next year's kinship.
In a word, no. But I believe there are some pretty special ones coming through. I do know that the company has invested cleverly in some stock over the last couple of years. So yeah, I think there'll be quite interesting kinship over the next year, maybe 2 years. Good stuff coming through. There's a couple of nice things come on. Magnum of Ardbeg 30-year-old if you're interested, which is very nice. But no, kinship I think will be pretty good for the next couple of years. There's good stocks coming through. I will let you know as soon as I know.
Again, kinship never fails to deliver for me.
It doesn't. It
never
doesn't.
fails
We're
to
sitting
deliver.
here with that
Yes,
fantastic selection behind us,
beautiful, yeah, beautiful.
and it delivers every year.
Yes.
In fact, this year it delivered so quick that I went out the door before we even got a chance to taste it. So there you go. So,
I know.
if there's no more feedback from anybody, we will draw things to a close tonight. It's, as I say, it's been an absolute pleasure tasting these very special drams from Hunter Laing, in good company, of course.
Oh, listen, nothing but the best,
It's always good to put your brains, Fraser, because every time I sit and talk to you, I do learn something. Believe it or not, I might not look it, but I do learn something every time.
Every day's a school day.
Every
isn't
day
it?
is a school day.
Even for me,
Yeah.
it's been. No, again, this has been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed myself and enjoyed all the questions that have come in. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Yep. Thanks very much, folks, and good night, and thanks, Fraser.
Paul, thank you
Cheers.
very much.
All the
All
best.
the best.